Hi everyone, Dave Bradshaw here alongside RevPro owner and matchmaker Andy Quildan.
He's been watching the recaps. The wrap-ups, sorry.
The wrap-ups, exactly.
Yeah, Francesca put you to shame last week.
Also, I want to talk to you about how freely you're giving Francesca exclusives and scoops on this show, but there we are. Anyway, we've just come off air live in London, 109. I've lost the ability to speak because it was such an incredible show. There's so many places we could start, but why don't we start with those two remarkable dream matches? First of all, the international dream match between Leon Cage and the Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. That was something special, wasn't it?
Fantastic. One of the best matches that we've had in Revolution Pro Wrestling. It's just, look, Leon Cage is 19 years old and the world is his oyster. And he proved it again tonight. I think it's, look, he's got such an impressive body of work. And look, there's so many other people within our roster who are right there with him, snapping at his heels. But the fact that this young man, at, like I say, just 19 years of age, is able to take this in his stride is just absolutely something else. So big shout out to him, and absolutely fantastic to have Bandito back in a Revolution Pro Wrestling ring. So, Ring of Honor World Champion. We've had so many great Ring of Honor World Champions. With the Ring of Honor World Championship's been defended on RevPro shows in the past. So, it's great to have Bandito back. And he showed exactly why there was such a clamour for that contest and a clamour to see him perform. So, fantastic pro wrestling.
Speaking of fantastic pro wrestling, the other big dream match, I guess, of the night was Kaylee Ray's return to the independent wrestling scene to take on Kanji. Now, Kanji, obviously, with her continuing issues with Rio, really needed a win here at Porchester Hall, was able to get it. What did you think of that match and of the result?
Well, I think it might shock a lot of people that Kanji got that win, but Kanji's, like we've been saying it, for anyone who's been following Kanji knows, it's no fluke. She's a very, very, very real deal. And the match itself was fantastic. It was great to have Kaylee Ray here in Revolution Pro Wrestling. Listen, I spoke to Kaylee Ray after the contest, obviously disappointed she didn't get the victory, but she wants to be back in Revolution Pro Wrestling, very impressed by the level of talent which is here. And she's been gone a long time. And listen, I'm telling you now, like, when she gets back in her stride in here in Rev Pro and once she's got the lay of the land, etc., there may be no stopping her. I genuinely believe that. But, I think that maybe Kanji might have shocked her tonight, the level that she's able to compete at. And this is the type of competition that makes it that, look, world-class professional wrestlers thrive on this level of competition. We say iron sharpens iron all the time. And look, this pro wrestling is a sport whereby the best compete against the best always. It's not a case of, looking to pad people's records, by putting people on with lesser opposition. This is the best of the best, week in, week out. Kaylee Ray found that out firsthand, and she's disappointed she didn't get the W, but she's more determined and encouraged than ever, and that excites me, Dave, because you saw the fight that she put up against Kanji tonight, and she jumped straight back in at the deep end, didn't she, Kaylee Ray? So, that is a fantastic, fantastic professional wrestling match. I've used the word fantastic a lot, but that is a great way to sum up tonight's show. So we will be seeing Kaylee Ray back in a Revolution Pro Wrestling ring again very soon as well.
One thing I don't think you could describe as fantastic, though, while we're talking about the competition to be the top woman in Revolution Pro Wrestling, is the conduct of our British Women's Champion, Alexis Falcon. Now, I don't want to cast aspersions. I can't absolutely guarantee you that this claim that she has an ongoing concussion that took her out of what would have been a championship defense against Alice Ing today. I can't promise you that that's not legit, but I think we all have our suspicions on that. Nonetheless, Inc., in the absence of Alexis Falcon being able to compete, got the win over Sky Smithson in what turned out to be a non-title match. Falcon then tried to attack afterwards. Inc. made her pass out for the second time in 2 months. The enemies just keep on stacking up for Alexis Falcon, don't they?
Yeah, well, listen, Alice Ing's proven she's very much the real deal. Again, here tonight against Sky Smithson, and she showed us something else when Alexis Falcon, God bless her, concussion and all. She put the boots in onto Alice Ing. She thought she was very smart. Alice Ing missed her by, that much. And Alexis Falcon was celebrating the victory before she'd passed the finish line, because then just like that, boom, Alice Ing grabbed her in that guillotine choke, choked her out, and left her lay in and showed that she's got more in her arsenal than those head kicks. So it poses more questions than answers for Alexis Falcon. And like you say, she's making a lot of enemies. Those challenges are going to keep lining up. And listen, I'm going to make sure Alexis Falcon remains active. We're going to get her assessed independently. There's going to be no cheating, but I can't lie. She said, I can't lie about my symptoms. So
she can lie.
Yeah, and
I think we've seen her do that before.
So look, we'll find out, won't we? Because there's, like I say, there's a long list of women who want to step up and challenge Alexis Falcon. So if Alexis Falcon is going to be a champion of his division, she will be a fighting champion, and we're going to make sure of that on the road to Wembley.
Now, speaking of the race to be the women's champion, obviously we're drawing closer to the Women's Grand Prix, July 25th in Wolverhampton. We had another big name announced for that this week in Shayna Baszler. Anything more you can tell us as we get closer? I'm aiming for a scoop.
I don't have a scoop, Dave.
Come on.
I don't.
Yeah, you used them all last week. That's why he dropped about 10 of them last week.
But look, the Women's Grand Prix is coming July 25th. Tickets are on sale now, obviously. So now we've got individual show tickets on sale as well. So if you can't attend both shows, you can choose one or the other. I basically would definitely recommend people go get the joint show ticket, because you get great value for money. You get a huge saving on your ticket price, and you're going to see two world-class professional wrestling shows. So we are, again, just closing in on those final announcements. What I can tell you in terms of this women's wrestling picture, when we come to that Women's Grand Prix, we're going to have an Iron Fist match next Sunday live in Sheffield. It's going to be Kanji versus Rio, 30-minute Iron Fist match. Now, for anyone who's not familiar with an Iron Fist match, it's essentially a 30-minute Iron Man match. However, so the person with the most falls at the end of 30 minutes is declared the victor, with falls by pinfall, submission, disqualification, count out. However, if the match ends via knockout, whoever gets that knockout blow wins the contest. So you could be losing 5-0. If you're able to knock your opponent out within that 30-minute time limit, that you're declared the winner of that contest. And that's what makes it such an intriguing stylistic matchup, because it opens you up to taking risks to try and get the finish early. And listen, the winner of that match between Kanji and Rio, we're looking, I said last week, we need to find a way to get a definitive end to this struggle between Kanji and Rio. And I feel like the Iron Fist match is a unique match. It's going to headline next week's event, and I think that it's fitting of that main event spot. And I genuinely believe whoever wins that contest, there can be no doubt at the end of it. And I hope both women shake hands at the end of it and move forward. The winner of that match will be entered into the Women's Grand Prix on July the 25th.
Now, that's a big announcement, but obviously we've also talked about the Women's Grand Prix there and live in Sheffield. In the week between those two, July 18th, we're going to be making our debut in Bradford for Summer Sizzler, where among the matches, there will be that 2 out of 3 falls match for the undisputed British Tag Team Championship. The Young Guns looking to regain those titles from Slater Dojo. The Young Guns had a warm-up 2 out of 3 falls match tonight against two of our contenders, Chicago Desai and Helvin Narayan. There was a worrying moment in there because Ethan Allen had an awkward fall to the outside and had to leave the match with an apparent knee injury. In his absence, very impressively, Jacobs was able to nonetheless secure a 2-0 win for the Young Guns. Allen came out afterwards and got on the microphone, said that basically he's expecting that it was kind of just precautionary, and that he's very much thinking of 2 weeks rest, he'll be good to go for Summer Sizzler. Have you spoken to him since?
Yeah, and look, there's nothing we can really say until he needs to, once the adrenaline's worn off, we don't really know how serious it is, etc. He needs to see physios, he needs to see his people, he's got a team of people who helped him with his knee injury. Of course, where we worry is because he's had knee injuries in the past. We will deal with everything with the abundance of caution, and obviously we'll give any updates as and when those updates are available to us. As you say, post-match, Ethan remained very positive and felt that, look, I'm going to take next weekend off in Sheffield. I should be good to go.
Yeah. So we're
Bradford.
cautiously optimistic.
We are, but again, we take nothing off the table. This is a contact sport,
Mhm.
you know, and we always have to be in the situations where we adapt, we move, etc. So if something has to happen, something has to happen. But right now, like you say, cautiously optimistic. Don't like to speculate. So, and I feel like it's very because of where we're at and the nature of injuries like that. You have to wait for swelling to go down, etc., before you can get the full extent. But I will stress that we think about tomorrow, not just today.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I absolutely am sure that that's exactly the mindset that Ethan Allen's going to have as well. So, that was probably one dampener on an otherwise excellent evening of action.
And one thing that certainly wasn't a dampener at all, in fact, quite the opposite, was the return of the former undisputed British heavyweight champion, Jay Joshua, who came to the aid of Conor Mills when Mills was facing a post-match beatdown tonight by the New Sons of Southampton. Once Joshua had seen them off and helped Mills back up to his feet, Joshua grabbed the microphone and laid down the gauntlet, made it clear what match he wants at the OVO Arena, Wembley, for our 14-year anniversary, August 29th, and what a gauntlet it was he laid down. He wants to face Zack Sabre Jr. Is that going to happen?
Well, look, I think it's a stylistically intriguing contest. You think about the way Jay Joshua matches up to Zack Sabre Jr. and Zack's previous opponents, and you know that like even in Revolution Pro Wrestling, you saw the battles for the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship between a Tomohiro Ishii and a Zack Sabre Jr. And I say stylistically, Jay Joshua, a very similar competitor to Ishii in terms of build, in terms of the way he's a striker and the intriguing and power wrestler. And the intriguing balance between that and the technique of Zack Sabre Jr. is something that I'm very interested to see. We always say that stars make matches. And I think that, you know, Ishii may have posed Zack Sabre Jr. with more challenges than anyone in his career. So we know that Zack Sabre Jr. can struggle with that type of opponent, and we know how intriguing that can be. And we know Zack Sabre Jr., he wrestles, I don't know, with his heart, he wrestles with an ego. He likes to try and, even though, you know, he can, you know, 9 out of 10 men he can take down, he can submit, you know, whenever he was in the ring with Ishii, he wanted to stand and strike with him because he felt, you know, I'm the top of my game, I'm the best in the world, and I need to be diligent with every single aspect of professional wrestling. So, so look, it's a match that excites me. It's a match that interests me. Can we put it together? Obviously, Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be there, a bit led out by mass lines. It's going to be a big night for Zack Sabre Jr. I think it's a case of, you know, just taking a step back this week, looking at the situation, perhaps just dotting some I's, crossing some T's. And I feel like it's definitely a match that I want to see.
I mean, but you're a man kind of under pressure, right? As we get closer, we're now less than 8 weeks away from August 29th at Wembley. We had, for example, Cowboy Way taking issue with the fact that they're not on the latest poster for the show. They criticised you for that tonight. We had Charles Samuels out here tonight as well, completely unannounced, attacking the contenders for no good reason, as he continues to have an apparent chip on his shoulder that people are taking spots that he thinks should be his on the road to Wembley. Are you feeling that pressure more and more acutely as that day grows nearer?
No, look, I'm not, because this is what I deal with on a day-to-day, week-by-week basis. Obviously, the opportunity gets bigger, and we want to afford everyone an opportunity to do what they've been doing for us week in, week out. Is there a pressure in that respect? Yes. But is there a pressure to deliver? Absolutely not, because I know whatever the lineup's going to be, we are going to deliver. We're going to knock it out of the park, right? And I know that everyone who's on that card at Wembley, everyone who's in a position at Wembley is deserving of that position. There's going to be no, I guess, charity bookings on that event. Everyone is going to be there on merit and merit alone. And it's going to be one hell of an occasion. Like I say, I relish in moments like this. Is there a pressure? Obviously, there's a pressure. We want to sell tickets. We know what this could mean for the future of Revolution Pro Wrestling. We know what this could mean for the future of British professional wrestling. And I hope anyone who's sitting and watching this understands the reality of that situation and wants to support it and wants to get behind it and knows we're going to deliver. Because I promise you, on Saturday, August 29th, we're going to bring absolutely everything to the table as we try and present the biggest and best Revolution Pro Wrestling show to have ever taken place. And like I say, Dave, like, stuff like this, stuff like we heard from a Cowboy Way, stuff like we heard from Charles Samuels, a lot of that stuff I hear behind closed doors all the time. They're the people who are taking it public, you know, and that's their prerogative, because people are going to do whatever it takes to grab attention. You know, we know across the years in Revolution Pro Wrestling, across the years in professional wrestling in general, it's whoever takes a bull by the horns, it's whoever makes that impact, who makes their minutes count, that get the big opportunities, and they know it more than anyone. So I'm absolutely expecting this, and I think it's just all it's going to do is keep upping levels on this road to Wembley. As we've kind of said, we're very, very busy right now on this road to Wembley. We have shows every single week between now and Wembley, apart from the week before. We've got 1 week off to take a deep breath before Wembley Arena itself. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes on the roads for shows. You're going to see a lot of output in terms of our advertising, our promotional work. Hopefully you are anyway. And hopefully you're going to do the people at home are going to do the good job of help spread that word as well. If there's ever time to bring a friend, bring some family to a professional wrestling show, this is it. Saturday, August 29th, live from the OVO Arena in Wembley.
Now, normally, or quite often at least, we'll start these wrap-ups by talking about the main event. I'll hold my hands up and say I've been delaying talking about the main event tonight because I feel like the outcome of it is something that was, let's face it, a little bit disappointing for many of us. I'm sure you may be included in that, given the way that Leighton Buzzard intervened in the wrap-up last week, for example. He did get the win, though, over Joe Lando, and we saw, with the assistance of Top Tier, him standing tall over Nino Bryant and both Xander and Leland as well at the conclusion of our show tonight. It looks like at this point then, as we get closer to Wembley, that we are maybe heading towards a showdown for that Cruiserweight title between Leighton Buzzard and Nino Bryant. Do you think that now seems the most likely outcome? And if so, what's your thoughts about that match?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a likely scenario, and we're going to be doing some work this week to try and get some more of this card finalized, and look at what the roads, looks like in terms of what championship defenses the champions need to make on the road to Wembley until we can confirm, this is the card you're going to see. And it does look like a likely scenario, Nino Bryant and Leighton Buzzard. We know for a guaranteed fact that Nino Bryant will be in that undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship match at Wembley Arena. It was a very, very hard-fought match, like you say. You can say it's not the outcome you wanted. Look, I don't sit here and say it doesn't matter to me who wins, who loses the matches. I want to see people there. But always say on merit and merit alone. And look, do we look at Joe Lando and say, look, Joe Lando was a fantastic Cruiserweight champion. Would we have liked to see Joe Lando and Nino Bryant again? Absolutely we would. But by the same note, you have to give the devil his due. Leighton Buzzard, I don't like what happened after the match with Top Tier.
No.
Right? But that was after the match.
Yeah, but there was a low blow in the match as well.
You
gave him the benefit of the doubt and said it was inadvertent.
I can give him the benefit of doubt in that situation. And I think that if you watch the way that match was fought, from start to finish, Leighton Buzzard had to really weather a storm, and Joe Lando brought his A game. It was a great professional wrestling match, and listen, Leighton Buzzard walked out the champion. We accept that result. We move on, right? Like I say, I don't like what happened after the match with Top Tier. We need to do a bit of digging to find out what's been going on with those guys. We've seen a loose association between the trio.
Not so loose now.
Not so loose now, and you have to wonder, is it all part of the bigger plan? But again, I think that's another story for another day. But either way, like Nino Bryant and Leighton Buzzard, to me, sounds like an excellent professional wrestling match. But again, with so many, it didn't. You look at the British J Cup, and you look at whoever won the British J Cup would make a real match for the undisputed British Cruiserweight champion, regardless.
Before I let you go, we've talked a lot about Wembley today. I do want to talk about some of the big shows we've got coming up either side of it. We had a big announcement today, for example, about RevPro's return to France. We're going to be in Paris at the end of September, collaborating with our friends over at APC. Also, last week, I know you said you might have some news this week about Cardiff, unfinished business, which is set to go down 2 weeks before we go to Wembley. So just looking ahead, other than Wembley, any news you've got for Cardiff? Anything you want to say about Paris?
We're very excited to be coming to Paris. 2 shows. I think it's the 27th and 28th of September.
I think that's right.
2 shows in Paris. Of course, we were in Lyon last October, and it was a fantastic experience. Loved the French wrestling fans. Very much excited about coming to the nation's capital of Paris in September 27th and 28th. It's going to be 2 shows across 2 days. The first show is specifically going to be APC versus RevPro themed. And then the second day will be RevPro live in Paris. So, you're going to get a lot of, on the first night, there'll be a lot of, unique situations, a bit of a France versus England situation, maybe.
Preview of the World Cup final.
Well, it'd be
a post view.
Yeah, a replay of the World Cup, World Cup final, and hopefully a right result again. Come on the RevPro. But yeah, so that's going to happen on the first night, and it's going to be exciting. I love it when we go to these places and we see new, fresh, exciting talent. So, of course, we've seen like Koro, we've seen JGU, we've seen Big Dog Mecca, but I'm excited about seeing more of this talent from APC. And the second night it's going to be RevPro live in Paris, and you know what to expect on our our standard RevPro shows. This is going to be in association with APC again, who are very welcome hosts, and of course we'll have an array of APC talent, I'm sure, on that event also. But we aim for every show we do to have consequence. We aim for every show we do to be important and matter. So we were very, very excited to come to Paris this September. Regarding Cardiff, so look, originally the Cardiff show was scheduled to be in the Vale Arena. I actually made a decision to move the show. Still happening August 16th. It's still happening in Cardiff, but we're moving it to the Tram Shed. So the Tram Shed in Cardiff is where we ran a show in 2023, I believe. For Will Ospreay versus Big Damo was the main event at that event. And it's more central in Cardiff. It's in the town centre, so it's easy. It's got better travel links. It also provides a more intimate setting. Like the Vale Arena is like a huge open space. Anyone who's been there before, Tram Shed is going to be a lot more intimate environment, which I believe leans a lot more into the revolutionary pro wrestling atmosphere. And again, it's that nightclub setting, the bright lights. I think that it's got a bit of an underground feel to it, and I feel like it's going to be a perfect setting for Unfinished Business 2026, August the 16th, live in Cardiff. And you heard him alluding to it on the show today, but I can confirm that Bandido will be in action on Sunday, August the 16th, and anyone who saw today's match knows exactly what to expect. August 16th, when we are live in the Tram Shed in Cardiff.
It's the kind of exclusive that Francesca could never get, isn't it?
I don't think so, Dave. I think she'd probably get that and a few more.
Yeah, she'd be good.
Basically, she's got a nicer manner to her.
I heard you saying that you're intimidated by me, by the way. I enjoyed that.
It's just a sign.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, he's very tall.
Look, I'm going to let you go. Not least because you're intimidated. And we've got a lot of work to do as we head to Sheffield next week. Huge announcement, as you made earlier, about the Iron Fist match between Kanji and Rio. I'm sure there's going to be much more announced. Keep your eyes on social media over the week ahead as we head back to Sheffield this coming Sunday. In the meantime, Andy, thank you as always for joining us. We'll see you there in Sheffield. We'll see you there as well. In the meantime, thank you. We'll see you soon.